All right, so day one of wearing my minimalistic barefoot shoes everywhere. I'm currently on a hike with the two doggies. They're very happy to be here. And please don't be like me. Don't go 0 to 100 on the first day. From all the videos and research that I've done, it specifically states that you should ease into it and transition into wearing these types of shoes. But since I'm Asian and I tend to be barefoot almost all the time, especially in and around the house, and also my personality of if I'm gonna try something new, an endeavor, I go all in. I don't like to dip a toe in, I just jump all in. And so here we are right now. And it's not too bad. The only weird and strange feeling is there's a lot of pebbles on the ground, a lot of gravel, and I can feel every single one of them. Because usually when we go on these hikes together, I wear my hiking boots and it's like 2 to 3 inch thick soles and you can't feel the ground. It serves its purpose. But now that I'm wearing shoes that are supposed to emulate sandals or wearing nothing at all, it's an interesting experience. Man, oh man, so we just finished up doing a 6-mile hike. Day one of wearing these shoes. And I thought about it. Why am I doing this, right? I think first and foremost, the biggest reason is I'm really fascinated by the different ways that we can optimize our body to perform better. I'm not even gonna lie, after about an hour and a half in these shoes, up and down a mountain, my shins are a little sore. Actually, not even a little, it's a little painful. And I think that's going to be normal because your body is not used to walking up and down mountains wearing a barefoot shoe, right? Because we're so accustomed to wearing shoes with cushion and padding everywhere. And that's what I've been doing, right? Every time I go hiking, I wear my hiking boots. And so going from that to this overnight, I think my body's in shock, but I think it's growing pains. I truly believe in like 6 to 7 days, my body will acclimate. And right now it's in pain because it's strengthening. The tendons and ligaments around my legs are not used to it. But I feel like as I start working them out indirectly through these quote unquote barefoot shoes, I think it'll be better. And some of the other reasons why I'm doing this experiment is because from my research and studying up on how the body benefits from wearing barefoot shoes over time, states that it improves your ability to build muscle mass, especially in the lower legs, around the shin and the calf and the ankles. It helps improve your athletic ability, your balance, which is super important because it strengthens up the toes and your natural arch, and it's just overall movement control. Oh, you want another one? Another reason why I'm doing this is because from some of the studies that I looked at, it says that by constantly wearing standard shoes with a narrow toe box, where your toes are clumped together, I want to reverse the deformity caused by that. And from wearing barefoot shoes, it allows your toes to spread naturally, and you can actually reverse the damage as long as it's not too far gone. And lastly, eventually I am going to start running in these shoes because I want to fix my running form. I've never been a good runner. I've been an okay runner from working hard at it, but I've never been good. And I think a huge part of that is because I always wore huge, clunky motion control shoes. And from wearing these type of shoes, you can actually naturally work on your pronation to have a midfoot or a forefoot strike as it hits the ground rather than a heel strike. Because when you wear shoes, it artificially encourages you to heel strike, and from doing heel striking when you're running, it causes a whole bunch of problems. Hopefully that's a lot of reasons and they're valid enough for somebody to want to experiment by doing this. So the other day, I was binge watching YouTube and I stumbled upon these documentaries about the Rawa runners. And they're from Chihuahua, Mexico, and they're some of the world's best, not the fastest, but some of the most efficient long distance runners on the planet Earth. And the amazing aspect about the Rawa runners are that they run 50, 60, 70 miles in sandals. And so as I was laying there stretching out on my foam roller, I was inspired by their active lifestyle and their choice of minimalistic footwear, which caught my tiny little eyes: their shoes. So I jumped down a rabbit hole about footwear and concluded that, number one, modern day shoes are built very narrowly in the name of fashion. And for instance, if you just go grab a pair of shoes from your closet, take out the insole and take a look at it, and put your foot on top of it and look at the width of your foot. More often than not, our foot compromises by squishing itself to fit into these fashion shoes. Number two is that we are constantly wearing these air pillows on our feet, which was pretty interesting for me to find out that it could potentially be the root cause of our hip, shin, and ankle pain. And number three is that by wearing shoes with a lot of padding and cushion, we are essentially wearing a cast around our feet. And if you're not broken or in pain or recovering, by wearing a cast, you are doing more harm than good, if you're relatively healthy, that is. And number four, this is very controversial because Vibram, the company that makes those ugly shoes, they got sued due to their outlandish claims. But number four is most of us in the Western world have weak feet as a direct result from wearing modern footwear. Because if you look at our feet, right? It has over 100 stabilizing muscles and 52 bones, but through these shoes, we're not able to strengthen them or to make them stronger. So the theory is by minimizing the artificial cushioning and padding in my shoes, it's going to force my Achilles, my shin, my calf, my foot, my toe, and etc. to become stronger in a more efficient manner. So for the next 50 years, no, I'm kidding, I don't know. But for the next X amount of days, I'm going to be wearing minimalistic footwear to the grocery store, to the gym, to walk the dogs, to take my showers, to poop, etc. everywhere. So the pair that I'm wearing right now on my feet are not exactly the most stylish pair of shoes, but they were a pair of $20 minimalistic barefoot shoes that I found on Amazon. And believe me when I say that it's very difficult and a challenge to find affordable minimalistic shoes that are actually good looking. Like the good looking ones are like $120, $180. All right, everyone. So it is the end of the first week. Been wearing barefoot shoes for 7 days in a row for almost every single activity. And I realized that I'm wearing the same shirt as I did on the first day. Yes, Karen, you're absolutely right. I'm a dirty boy. But anyways, what's happening is the bottom of my feet are starting to blister, I think, but not in a severe way. Let me see if I can show you. It's kind of like hot spots. I don't know if you can, I'm not flexible enough, but can you see the yellowing that's happening on the bottom of my feet? So I guess this is the part where it's growing pains. Oh, thank you. Other than that, not too bad though. So we're currently out here hiking, and yes, I am wearing them. And I wanted to talk about the criteria. What were the attributes that I was looking for when selecting this footwear that I have? Number one, a zero drop from the heel to the toes. Absolutely no elevation. Number two, a wide toe box. Number three, the sole itself has to be very flexible. And number four, no arch support at all. And so far, so good. It's not too bad. I am not wearing socks with these, but I think if I extend this challenge into the winter, I definitely do have to wear socks. Well, it's the end of week 3. Been wearing these type of shoes for the past 21 days. And let me just take this off and show you guys what I'm looking at. My foot is pretty flat, right? And I'm starting to see a slight arch form now. Do you see how it's a slight arch? Regardless, it's pretty flat. And another thing that I'm noticing is that my foot is always in pain. And this part right here is always raised now. Usually it's flat, but this part is raised. So not sure what that means, but just pain all around, but it's not like excruciating. So this is the end of week 3. So far I like it. It's not too bad. All right, so we just passed the 1 month mark of wearing barefoot shoes. And as you can see on the floor, there's a million little pebbles of various sizes. And I think around the week 3 mark is when my feet started to harden on the bottom, developing kind of like a callus, and it's not as painful anymore. It's still not a comfortable feeling. It is absolutely hot today, probably like 90 degrees. But 1 month in, it's starting to feel really good. My ankle mobility, my foot strength, everything's getting accustomed to not having a thick sole to support the body anymore. So I think, where do we go from here? I think we're gonna start to pick it up, and I'm gonna start introducing some distance running, and we'll go from there, and we'll see how the body acclimates to that. And now I'm home after that long hike. Oh, hi, Bernie. I wanna show y'all what my feet look like after 35-ish days. So, big toe has a big callus forming. Other than that, I mean, there's like hot spots in between my toes that are blistering. This side. Alright, everybody, so my allergies are pretty bad today. The weather is fantastic, which means the pollen is just everywhere. Anyways, I just passed the 63 day mark, 2 months of wearing these ugly shoes, and I must say, they are now very comfortable. At first, my body was not used to the lack of cushioning and padding, but now it's just like everything else in life, you just get used to it. And now that my body is used to it, it is fantastic. And obviously there was a growing period of pain, but then I look down and you see my doggies right there? They're barefoot people too, right? And if they're not complaining, how could I be complaining? And another tangible benefit, let's see. My foot is a lot more muscular now, and it's still pretty flat, but it's starting to form a little arch right here, and I can tell right here the foot is starting to raise. Whereas before, my foot was completely flat. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if that showed up on camera or not, so I'm gonna film it again. I swear, if you watch this video on mute, it could be an OnlyFans foot account. Pretty nasty. Pretty nasty. All right, everyone, so I'm currently walking to the gym, and I haven't done that since I lived in South Korea. That's like 4 or 5 years ago. But I'm doing it because I'm trying to increase the amount of steps that I get in per day. And for the first time ever, in the past 2.5 months, while wearing these type of shoes, I'm doing it with socks. And I have to say, it's not the same experience. It's too comfortable. So, lesson learned is, if you're starting out and you're transitioning to these barefoot type of shoes, definitely wear socks with them, because it is 100,000 times more comfortable rather than just going straight up barefoot into it. But yeah, it just happened by accident, a mistake, and it was a discovery. Anyways, got this little hat, makes me look 10 years older, but trying to stay protected from the sun. But yeah, still loving it. I still love these shoes, and no looking back.
One eternity later.
All right, so this is after about 6 months of daily use of these barefoot shoes. Got them really cheap off of Amazon. Just washed them in the tub, so they're pretty clean. A lot of tread left still. Still pretty grippy. And that's Bonnie! And it's Bernie! Hello, Mr. Bernie! Hello! And then Mrs. Bonnie. Let's take a look at the insole. Crazy enough, the insoles got pretty worn out after about 1 month of use. Look at that. This is after 6 months. But everything else is pretty much intact. Nothing is falling apart. It's still pretty good. And these are the ones that I'm using to go running in And I used to flirt with running in barefoot shoes here and there for like 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and then I would stop because I would get sharp pains in my patella tendon right here. Now I'm able to go on longer jogs. It's still a little painful, but that's where we're at right now. So I started to run long distance routes at a pretty leisurable pace at about the 6 or 7 month mark of wearing barefoot shoes. And a phenomenon that I have never experienced before is I started having super sore calves. Now, I've run a lot in my life, never been a good runner, but I've never had sore calves. Funny enough, I'm coming up on a year of wearing barefoot shoes and about 7 months of running in them, and my calves are still sore every single time I run. And it is nice because my calves are getting more defined, but for the next 2 to 3 days, walking up and down stairs is absolutely a mission. Okay, so we finally made it to a full year of wearing barefoot shoes. I started fall of last year in 2021, and now it is almost January 1st, 2023. So a little over 14 months of wearing barefoot shoes, and here are my concluding thoughts. It was the worst idea that I've ever decided to take action upon. No, I'm just kidding. I loved it so much. So much, in fact, that I ordered 2 more barefoot shoes off of Amazon, and they're currently on their way that are a little bit more winter friendly. One change that I've made is that instead of wearing barefoot shoes all the time, 365 days, I decided and I transitioned into wearing them most of the time. Sometimes, depending on the weather, like today, I am wearing my Doc Marten boots because there's black ice everywhere, it's slippery, and when I decided to wear my barefoot shoes, especially in the winter like this, I noticed that my feet and my socks and everything would just get absolutely soaking wet and cold, and I was miserable. So was this experiment worth it? Yes, I think so, because it benefited my lifestyle in so many different ways, especially strengthening my lower extremities, but also allowing my feet to develop more muscles. Whereas before, I thought the solution was to just put more air pillows and more of a cast on it. That is not the way to go. Some other things that I noticed is that my ankle stability and my balance is off the charts, which is really cool. So would I do it again? That's the big question. Absolutely. This is knowledge that I wish I knew when I was younger, and I just feel a little thankful that I'm finding out about it now and that I'm able to implement it for the rest of my life now, right? So I can course correct as I've lived a third of my life now, which is crazy to say. The biggest takeaway is this: more cushioning, more padding, more stability or motion control is not the answer. Sometimes we need to get back down to our biology and work on our mechanics of how we are running or how we are walking. You know, I used to be in a profession where I would be on my feet from 12 to 15 hours a day, and I thought my solution was to wear shoes that were absolutely padded to the max. Like I used to do when I was younger and my boobs were small, so I would stuff my bra with tissue paper, but that's neither here or there. But that wasn't the answer, because my feet would always be sore, and it just never was a good solution. But had I known about this movement and the whole barefoot ideology, I feel as if I could have taken that opportunity to strengthen my legs. Maybe someday I'll be able to afford one of the big brands, but for now, I'm happy. I'm content on wearing these cheap Amazon barefoot shoes because it gets the job done, and if it wears out, I can't even be too mad because it's like 20 bucks. Anyways, this concludes the video. I hope you learned something or made you feel a certain way. As we go about the rest of our day, let's just be better and do better. Guys, I'm just really excited about this stuff. And because of that, I'm super passionate about sharing it with y'all in the hopes that it can genuinely help you. I'm not the world's smartest. I don't know everything. I'm just a dumb, hairless ape that goes ooga ooga that just happens to look Korean. I think what I'm saying is right, but I could totally look back in 5 years and say what an idiot I was. But that's the journey of life. You live, you learn, you grow, you down an entire box of glazed donuts in one sitting. The message of this video moves me, so I hope that it can move you as well. At least from the couch to the bathroom, to let out the fart that you've been holding while watching this video.